It's an interesting time to be a CMO. Marketing spend is under scrutiny, as it so often is. Buying habits are changing, and AI is threatening to upend many aspects of sales and marketing we thought we understood. In this episode, we're talking to Steven Quach, CMO of Pipedrive, about his first few months as a CMO. Welcome to Conversations with MarTech. This episode of Conversations with MarTech is brought to you by SEMrush. Meet your unfair advantage, a new SEMrush, uniting search and AI discovery into one powerful marketing growth engine, delivering richer data, more keywords, deeper AI insights, and prioritized next steps. With SEMrush, you can turn total brand visibility into coordinated action. Get yourself a 14-day free trial and a discount code. Visit martech.org/semrush-coupon or scan the QR code.
Hi, I'm Steven Quach. I'm CMO at Pipedrive. Pipedrive's been around for over 15 years. One of the OGs in the sales CRM space. And I got to say, our pedigree is amazing. It was built by a group of sales guys, 4 sales teams. That was a decade and a half ago, and today we're standing here, and it's still built with this obsession for sales teams, and that's our only customer, our only ICP, and so I love that, and that's kind of what drew me there, to be honest. But kind of more on that in a bit. For me, I started my career in marketing over 15 years ago. And really all in the performance marketing space, right? So really revenue driving, dollar in, dollar out, all that fun stuff. And then spent years running global teams at Expedia, Hotels.com, then moved to B2B in e-commerce shipping software before joining Pipedrive in October.
All right, so as we speak, you're coming off your second quarter as a CMO. Pipedrive is your first CMO job. How's it going? What have you learned?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been fast. I can't say I'm new anymore. And in a way, it's like, it's been the shortest 5 months and the longest 5 months, which tends to be how it goes. But to be honest, Mike, it's been super great and very refreshing. One of the things that drew me here, and then what I realized very early on, was just how people led Pipedrive is, and it's a very, very culture-rich company. It's really grounded in where we started, which was in Estonia. Again, like 15 years ago, throughout from there all the way to the far reaches of the US. Now we're in over 150 countries. We have 4 to 5 hubs or offices across the business, right? So that's been super refreshing. I think in marketing, I came in and very quickly set our focus, which is to build a full funnel go-to-market machine. And it sounds basic and it sounds obvious, but we really had to do it. We really had to refocus our ICP as well, right? And really understand who we're trying to serve, get back to basics. But not only that, really try to go after bigger customers and bigger sales teams, because it's something that we're already winning at. It's our fastest growing segment. Our bigger teams, we just kind of need to get the word out better. And so that was like sort of thing number one, I think I noticed very early on. And then, related to that, we're working on a lot of great positioning work, or rather counter positioning work. But I think to your question exactly, Mike, the main learning for me is that execution is really hard without a strong plan and approach. And so that's whether it's like a refocus on RCP and the why we exist, all that great stuff, or frankly just revisiting old processes and saying, hey, there's a better way. You need all that to execute well. And I always like the phrase of plans are worthless, but planning is everything, right? So like that's where we've been doing a lot of that. So a lot of good learnings there.
You talked about your experience, your various roles, different organizations at the top. What has surprised you about the CMO role now that you're there?
A little bit of what I was suggesting, or what I was saying around just like inertia. It's It's a thing. It's stubborn, and whether it's like legacy processes or legacy ways of doing things or hardened perceptions about who we're serving, that sort of thing, it's hard to change. And so, AI is a whole other thing, and we'll talk about that. But it's been both surprising and not. That adoption there has been both fast and very slow at the same time. You know what I mean? So there's just like sort of getting the teams to do new things and think in new ways, I think has been a bit of a challenge. The other thing is more basic. It's around like, hey, how do we align everything from marketing, product, and sales right around the same customer narrative? Well, we got to get our customer narrative down first, right? Which is a lot of stuff I was talking about. But it's that clear understanding of the who and the what, and is really what we've been focused on getting on right. And that was a little harder than I thought, to be honest, but we're 2 quarters in where we've got some strong traction and we're well underway.
I think one of the things that I've learned is like playbooks are great, right? You've got your playbooks. We do this, we do that. This is how we do it. It's great for succession planning. It's somebody leaves, somebody's out. You can still pick up and where you left off. But sometimes people become beholden to those playbooks, and it's like you got to lift your head out of it from time to time and see what else is out there.
Yeah. Agile has been like we're being a SaaS company. We've always been product-led growth, right? And how it is, agility and agile design is such a core part of a good product, and that's something that we're bringing to the marketing team as well, right? Like to your point, planning is important, right? Plans are important, right? But you got to be agile. It's got to be modular, right? Playbooks are great, but you got to know when to swap this module out versus that one.
Yep. So let's talk about AI and how it fits with your team. Like, you're trying to assess what your team knows about AI and how they use it. What are you hoping to learn from that exercise? And like, where do you want this to go?
Yeah. Well, I'll say the first thing, like, I don't know if it's an elephant in the room or not, right? But I've said this a few times in different places, but I think there's a knowledge gap that currently exists. I don't think we really help our teams. And I'm talking about the collective we, certainly at Pipedrive, but I've seen this and experienced it elsewhere as well. But, we kind of expect our teams to be like this workflow, automating, vibe coding, full stack marketer yesterday. And all we've really done, I'm exaggerating, is given them access to all these tools and gotten out of the way, right? So like, where's the training? Where's the workshopping? Like, where's the specific sort of handholding in certain areas that'll get them further down the road? I don't think we've done a great job there. I don't think collectively the industry has done a great job there. And so here at Pipedrive, we've been doing a lot of like very task and functional specific workshopping, like bringing in the experts, teaching teams how to fish in very specific ways, and then really embedding that talent inside the teams. You know what I mean? Versus like having for example, like a workflow engineer that's kind of like just goes in and it like builds these things for us. It's like, well, how do you embed that skill set into our designers, into our creative directors, right, into our analysts, that sort of a thing, right? So I think that's been a journey, and has been really helpful. And then like outward facing for our customers. I don't know, Mike, if you've observed this, but I certainly have. We think that there's definitely some AI fatigue when it comes to like promise is not enough anymore. AI solutions are just expected to work and work well. Stop talking about it. Stop making that kind of like the focus. But yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts there, but we've definitely seen that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Like what you said at the top of that answer, right? About like, we've kind of told people, hey, there's all these tools out there. And, some people, we all know the people who they catch the bug and they start with like the LLMs. And then next thing you know, they're like vibe coding but for a lot of people, that's a huge leap. And it's a huge leap in their time, in what they do, what they know, their knowledge. And so a lot of people have kind of like, well, okay, LLMs can help me. Obviously, the big one is content creation. And you do that. And I think a lot of people have kind of stopped there. Is that the most value, though? I mean, in the time it takes you to write the prompt and then edit what you get back because you have written that blurb?
Mhm.
Maybe you could have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's great for ideating if I'm stuck. But the people who are really using it to take a process that was slowing them down, that was
Yep.
keeping them from accomplishing something, that's where I think the big benefit is.
Yeah, yeah. I think by now everyone's using AI as not just an answer engine, but like a strong thought partner.
Oh, yeah.
To your point, it's like, hey, this task that I have no business doing anymore, it's low value, that sort of a thing. Like, how can we throw AI at it?
Yep.
I think we have, for us, we can do a lot more there, and that's where we're getting very specific. And then I think, the business we're in, Mike, right, is about all about helping sales teams close more deals, right? That's the reason we exist. And so when we're talking about external messaging, right, like for us, everyone is out there building strong AI, integrated and AI native solutions. Like, we certainly are as well, but the focus is not on that at all. It's about, for us, how we can leverage it to elevate like the uniquely human and relationship aspect of selling. So that's really what our focus is. Like when I talk about like the positioning work and like our narrative and all that stuff, we want to put the focus not on AI but on sales teams, and sort of like, just sort of work really well, bring all the AI tools and insights and solutions to make that happen, but then kind of just quietly get out of the way and let sales teams really do their thing, which is get back to selling and building strong, lasting relationships.
Yeah. It's a great researcher. It's great for, our previous episode, we talked about audience insights and, audience search, and tell me about this demographic. And it's if you're solely focused on like salespeople, AI will tell you anything you need to know about the mind of a salesperson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, totally. There's a lot there to sift through. And then I think the other piece is like survey stuff, right? Like, so we actually did a really great survey against sales teams. And the one interesting thing we found was, many sales teams definitely see AI as either disrupting sales or transforming it altogether, right? But then there was like a large batch that were very skeptical. And like what that tells us is sales teams either have they either believe or want to believe that technology can help elevate their game, the game of selling, and they think it can help them win more deals, which we believe as well, right? So it's either they already believe it or they like skeptical, but they want to believe it, And so for us, it's like, all right, that's literally why we exist, right? So like, how can we bring those AI native solutions and things like that so that it just works well? It just works, and that should be the focus.
Pipedrive is they're a challenger brand, right? You're in a space with some pretty big players. Some of those players have sort of branched out from CRM and do all sorts of directions. Salesforce, I'm looking at you. How do you and your team use that to your advantage?
Yeah, you said it, I didn't, right? But it goes back to, again, that singular clarity, right, around our ICP and who our core customer is, like who our North Star is, our South Star, everything, right? And again, it's sales teams, and that's always been the case, and that always will be. And I think that gives us that just gives us a lot of direction, and focus on what we should be doing, what we shouldn't. And so over the years, we've been building out horizontally in a very purposeful way, right? Like, kind of to your point, right? We don't want to become too bulky or complex. We're all about simplicity, effortless effectiveness, clear visibility. That's all we care about, and that's always been our superpower, and we want to lean in there, right? So I think that being a smaller challenger brand with such a strong focus, yes, we want complete visibility across the full revenue cycle, but we want to do it in a way that's clear, and concise and simple, and that's always going to be how we operate. So I think that does give us an advantage, right? We don't have to be everything to everyone. And then, it's obvious, but if you're smaller, you get to move faster, right? Take more risks, pivot, without people noticing, that sort of a thing. And so,
how often do you guys find yourself helping your sales team go up against deals against some of those bigger brands?
Oh, I mean, the great thing about the thing that I love about being in sales CRM is that we have a sales team that uses the product. You know what I mean? Like, you can't say that of every SaaS product. You know what I mean? Like, I was in shipping, and like we couldn't say that where we weren't an e-commerce company, right? We were a shipping software, that sort of thing, right? So, no, I think they are their core customers, right? And so in a lot of ways, market go to market work in terms of enablement and battle cards and stuff like that, right? But to be honest, they hear the voice of the customer and prospects every day as they're selling, as they're using the product. They know what works well, what doesn't work well, how that resonates with the pain points that they're hearing, right? So that's just a massive advantage, you know. Like, we get to dog food our own stuff, and then, you know, in fact, when we talk about voice of customer work, they're actually our key voice in a lot of ways, right? Because they're in there, and they have a direct line to product, et cetera. So in that way, it's been a massive blessing and a clear advantage.
All right, Steven Quach, he is the CMO of Pipedrive. Thanks for joining us on Conversations with MarTech.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's a pleasure.